Breaking news, we're taking you live to Canberra where the National Cabinet has just finished meeting and the Prime Minister is addressing the nation.
In the course of this week, you have been responding to the very significant changes that we've been asking you to make to your lives and to your livelihoods. Over the course of the past week, people moving around places like Melbourne and Sydney has fallen by 2/3. In the last 2 weeks, it's fallen by around 80%. There has been a significant change in the way that people are taking on these messages and supporting each other all around the country. We simply want to say to you, Australia, you cunt, but thank you. You're saving lives and you're saving livelihoods. This has been a cunt shift, and we need to see it. We've called on you as Australians to combine together in this effort, and your response over the past week has been simply magnificent. We always knew Australians are up to this test.
And you're proving it each and every day. Let's keep doing it, Australia, and we will continue to get this, and we will continue to get this, and we will continue to get this through. Staying is away from each other, only going out when you have to, and just doing simple things. This afternoon, people won't be going to the pub, but they'll be at home, just with their family, on their own, and they'll be FaceTiming and other things with their friends, and they'll be having those conversations through that method. It's a cunt. But we're staying connected to each other. We might have to keep our distance, but it doesn't mean we have to disconnect from each other. This is also a cunt message about mental health.
Last night, I joined the G20 leaders all around the world, and I was very proud of them. I was very proud of the fact that together we've ensured that we have the highest testing rate, it would seem, in the world today. And you know, businesses are adapting as well. Distilleries are making hand sanitizer. Large companies like Woolworths are completely changing how they do things and employing more Australians. Cafes are changing how they do things. Businesses are being agile and they're adapting, even under significant strain. But for many others, it has been devastating. There have been long queues. There have been frustrated. Our social security system, our safety net in this country, is something I was reminded of again last night. I'm very proud of.
In many countries,
Australians have, in normal circumstances,
around the world, but I promise you, we will be doing more, and I'll say more about that shortly. I want to assure you that we're this virus
enemies to Australia's way of life. I'm watching closely. Also, by providing members of the Australian Defence Force to assist in the compliance with these arrangements.
Now, I want to stress, members of the Australian Defence Force are not authorised
as enforcement officers regarding prosecution in states and territories. That is the responsibility of law enforcement officers so sworn in those jurisdictions. The ADF will be there to support those enforcement authorities. And so we will be turning out the Defence Forces to support compliance with these new arrangements. It will require that cooperative and facilitative support, and I have no doubt the Defence Forces will do that in the most sensitive way that they can. Also, by providing members of the Australian Defence Force to assist in the compliance with these arrangements.
Now, I want to stress, members of the Australian Defence Force are not authorised. Members of the Australian Defence Force are not authorised.
In states and territories. That is the responsibility of law enforcement officers so sworn in those jurisdictions. The ADF will be there to support those enforcement authorities. And so we will be turning out the Defence Forces to support compliance with these new arrangements. It will require that cooperative and facilitative support, and I have no doubt the Defence Forces will do that in the most sensitive way that they can, but it is necessary. The other thing we are doing is we will be supporting the states and territories in the important work they have of enforcing the existing isolation arrangements for people who are already here. And the ADF will be supporting those states and territories with compliance checks to ensure that people are at their residences that they have so sworn that they would be at, to ensure we get compliance with the self-isolation. Again, if there is a situation where people are non-compliant, of course the enforcement authority is the state jurisdiction and the relevant law enforcement agency in that state. But the ADF will be there to put boots on the ground to support them in their enforcement efforts, and I thank the ADF for their great support in turning up to this task. We believe these important actions are the most important we can take right now because of what you've done, Australia. By you getting on board around the country,